embrace nature's serenity. Whether you're looking for an awe-inspiring hike through an old growth forest,
So I'm here at the Sylvania Wilderness. I just made it to my campsite. I have wanted to come here for so long, but it's literally a 9-hour drive from me. So I had to pick the right time to come. It's Labor Day weekend, so it literally worked out where I got that extra day off from work. But I will be here for 4 nights, 5 days. So it's gonna be a longer trip, longest trip for me actually. And the first time that I'm actually doing a like an actual circuit, I guess, if you will. So I'm not just setting up a base camp and then exploring around. I'm actually going to do a loop around all the sites. I'll actually show you the map to give you an idea of what my route's going to look like and where I'll be on what days, because I am going to have to do a lot of portaging with my gear, and I've never done that either. I've portaged my canoe, but not with all my gear. So that'll be a new experience for me, and I hope that I can do it. I wonder if dead and down means like totally on the ground. Dead and bent down. No, I am just gonna stick with what is all the way on the ground. If I've learned anything, it's that if I'm unsure, it's just to not do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with what is totally dead and on the ground. And that way I know that I'm definitely not hurting anything here in this beautiful place. There are just some really interesting root formations here. I feel like this is one where the camera just is not doing the campsite's beauty any justice. It's so pretty. I feel like you can just, because it's not flat, you can just see so much, and it's just rocky and green. It's actually really gorgeous here. I don't know if you can tell, but why in the world are you in the fire pit? The question is, how am I going to get you out of here? Even crazier is there is another one of you. Okay, I got him to go that far. Can you just scurry on now, please? I do not want you to be by this fire. Alright, I think he finally got the point that he should not be in the fire pit right now. So, I think we're good to go. Hopefully he'll go a little bit further away. So since I'm out here for 5 days and I do have to do some portaging, and I'm not sure how difficult it's gonna be. I did dehydrate my own food for every night of the trip except for tonight. So tonight I'm cooking something fairly easy, but like one of my favorite things to eat. And that's basically a banh mi in a taco form. It's like a banh mi sandwich, but instead of a sandwich, a taco, which is literally so good. It's like one of my favorite things to eat. Yeah, so just gonna have some tacos and call it a night. So that's just a sirloin steak. I marinated it at home before coming here with soy sauce, ginger, vinegar, garlic, brown sugar, and mirin. Okay, the steak is all done resting and it is the moment of truth. So let's see if I actually cooked it properly. I put a little bit of the marinade on the taco with a sriracha lime aioli that I made and brought out here with me, and green onions, pickled carrots, and pickled jalapeno, and a cabbage slaw, and obviously a tortilla. So that's it. Anyhow, I'm starving. I'm gonna eat. I just parked on this little beach. I'm only about 15 minutes in paddling, but it's gotten super windy and it just doesn't feel safe to keep paddling. So it sucks because I have such a ways to go, but I think the safe thing to do is to just wait for a little while until it's safe to paddle. So, I mean, worst case scenario, if I can't make it to my camp at a time like before dark, then I'll have to find somewhere else to camp, which is fine. So I'm sure I'll figure it out. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this is the Portage trail going to Crooked Lake. So I'm gonna grab a drink of water and then get going. Okay, so here is the put-in for Crooked Lake. The portage was actually not too bad, not too steep, in really good shape. So I'm happy about that. Now the water here on Crooked Lake looks a little murkier and lily paddy. That wind was pretty bad, but I mean, my canoe got pretty tippy, but never actually tipped, so it's kind of good to see that what it can handle. But I stayed close to shore in case something did happen, and thankfully nothing did. Okay, so I just finished portaging my canoe, and I'm at the put-in to Crooked Lake again. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get a quick snack and drink some water before I start paddling again. I am like literally dehydrated. Man, the portage was fine until it came time for me to carry the canoe. It's only 0.3 miles, but like my shoulders, that's the hardest part about it. I'm just having this UL time, I think is what it's called. I don't know. It tastes like passion fruit and it's really good. So hopefully that'll give me a little bit of energy. So I'm gonna have this with some crackers for a quick lunch. Okay, so I just made it to Mountain Lake and I just have to paddle across this lake. There's one more portage that's 0.3 miles. Then I'll be on the lake I'm staying on, which is West Bear Lake. So not too far. It's like 4:45, almost 5 o'clock now. So I'm not making very good time at all. So I'm gonna stop filming and try to hurry up and get going. Okay, so I just made it to the portage to West Bear Lake where I'm staying. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this 0.3 mile portage knocked out. Okay, so here is the put-in for West Bear Lake, which is my lake, and I made it, but not over yet. I still have to go back, get my big pack, then I gotta go back again and get my canoe. This plant is so colorful that at first I thought that somebody left some litter or something on the trail, but it's actually just a really colorful plant that looks like some like fruity pebbles or something stuck together. Heading back to get the canoe. This will be my last trip and then I can start the paddle to my campsite. I don't know why I was thinking I was at Deer 1. I'm actually at Deer 2, but they're right by each other. So I'm probably gonna get there around 6:30ish, which is only 30 minutes past the time that I estimated for myself. So not too bad, not too bad at all. So pretty happy about that. Okay, so this is gonna be interesting. Getting my canoe up to the site because there's a big old log right there. Looks like I'm probably gonna make it. Okay, so first impressions of the campsite is that it's kind of dark and creepy. I'm sure it'll work. Just gotta figure out where the fire pit is. Like a trail. I don't know. I'm just following it. I don't know if it's gonna lead me to the fire pit and the tent pads or what. Okay, so you do have to hike a little bit of a ways to get here, but the campsite itself is so-so. Fire pit there. Does have a cute little log seat, so that's nice. All right, well, I guess that means one more hike of my big giant pack and carrying it, but all right, let's go do that now. I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking this. This is red beans and rice with smoked sausage, and then I'm making some rice to go along with it. So we'll see how it turns out. I made a few different types of meals, like I'm experimenting to see what comes out good. I think, I don't know, that before I dehydrated it, it was really good. So we'll see how it rehydrates. Okay, so dinner is ready. This is my dehydrated red beans and rice, and then I also made cornbread at home to go with it, so I'm gonna have that too. And I will say it did actually rehydrate really well and it came out really good, so this is something that I'll be having again for sure. Per usual, I'm starving, so I'm gonna go ahead and eat. Getting ready to go to bed. I've got another big day tomorrow. I don't think it's as big as today, but I got quite a bit of paddling to do to get to my chipmunk campsite. So the goal is to actually wake up early and stay awake and leave early. So, all right, well, it's time to go to bed. Okay, so the plan for today is to paddle from my campsite, which is not Deer 1, it's actually Deer 2. For some reason I got confused about that yesterday, but I'm at Deer 2, so I'm going to paddle across East Bear Lake, quick 0.1 mile portage over to West Bear Lake. Then I'm going to paddle all the way to this 0.3 mile portage to Kerr Lake, and then over quick portage to High Lake, back into Crooked Lake, and then I'll have to paddle all the way down Crooked Lake to my campsite, which is here, Chipmunk, and I'll be there for 2 nights. So I know yesterday when I got here, I was pretty disappointed in the campsite. But now that I'm sitting here having my breakfast and just looking around in the daytime, there's actually some really cool features. Like the trees here are huge. And there's one right in the center of the campsite that is super tall and thick, but it's actually quite pretty. And yeah, I didn't notice it yesterday, but I'm noticing it now that I'm leaving. Funny how it works out that way. Also, if I had been paying better attention, I would have noticed that there is down birch bark literally everywhere at this campsite, which would have been helpful last night in starting my fire. But I will be taking some to go. I should also mention that this campsite does feature an exceptionally nice latrine. Getting in here was definitely tricky. Another log blocking the put-in, and I probably shouldn't have went over it, but I almost got stuck on it. Anywho, this should be a pretty short one. I have been carrying my water in on every single trip so far. I have like this weird mental barrier against filtering water out of lakes and streams out here. So this time I did not bring all the water that I need. I did bring my Grail with me. So I have only half a liter of water left, and then I've got to filter water. I know that logically that it's not going to hurt me. I mean, people filter their water all the time out here and don't die. So I know I'll be fine. So I'm just going to have to get over it. So I would get water here, but I'm thinking I've got still a couple portages. This one's 0.3 miles. So I think it might just be best to get water at the lake I'm staying on. Okay, so just did small stuff. Now I'm gonna get my big pack. Then I'll come back for the canoe. All right, so here we go again. Portage from Kerr Lake to High Lake. Okay, so High Lake is beautiful. This is definitely going to be the lake that I get my water from. It's really, really clear. But first I'm going to go get the rest of my stuff. This water is literally so clear. I mean, look how far down you can see into the water. Okay, so I am now at the Portage to Crooked Lake. So good news is that means that my portaging is finally done for today. But even better news, I just met the sweetest couple. One, I didn't even have to portage my canoe because the husband actually did it for me, which was so nice. And then Rose gave me some of her little gulp, I think they're called, lures. They're just these little chartreuse, like little guppy looking things that she says worked really well for her while they were here on their trip. So hopefully they'll work just as well for me. I did also get water on High Lake. So all in all, I am running about an hour-ish plus behind schedule, but all for good reason. I've just made it to my campsite, Chipmunk. Looks pretty nice. I have to go take a look around. I do like that it's kind of off in a little area all on its own. All right, so camp is all set up. And I'm gonna go ahead and make a fire. I'm so happy that I don't have to go find wood tonight because I'm dead tired. So that's enough for tonight for sure. And I'll just have to worry about tomorrow. But it is a beautiful place and I am very happy to stay here for 2 nights. I just turned around and realized that those trees made a peace sign. Even though there was wood left at this site, a lot of it's super wet. So I am on the hunt to find more. There was some bigger pieces that seemed dry, but I need those medium-sized pieces of wood. So this is my dehydrated or rehydrated shepherd's pie. Again, another recipe that I dehydrated at home and brought here. This one's a little bit more complicated because there's multiple components to cook separately, but I don't know. I didn't want it just all mixed together. I like when things look how they're supposed to. So, anyways, it's just ground beef with brown gravy, mushrooms, mixed vegetables with leeks, onions, mashed potatoes with Parmesan and green onions on top. It's about 8 o'clock. I've laid in bed for, I woke up at 6, laid here for 2 hours. I seem to do this every morning. But it's about time for me to get up. I'm gonna make some coffee. I only have 2 liters of water, or I only got 2 liters of water yesterday. So, which I used a full liter. I guess I didn't really think about how much water I was gonna use in my dehydrated dinner. So I only have 1 liter of water left, so I'm gonna have to go get water today. I'd really like to get it out of High Lake again. I do want to do some fishing, and I guess it's a great opportunity to do that. Here's what we're dealing with right now. I no longer have a tip to my fishing poles, so somehow during transport it broke off and I have no idea where the end of it is. So I'm still gonna try. So I guess either I have the worst fishing luck in the world or I have the best fishing luck in the world if I actually do catch something with like 3/4 of a fishing pole. So we'll see which one it is today. So I'm gonna try a few different baits this time. There are some different regulations here. So 1, you cannot use any live bait here at all. 2, you have to use barbless hooks only. So it will add an extra little bit of a challenge to actually keep anything that bites. But that's okay. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna get out on the water. I think the first one I'm gonna try is this little chartreuse gulp thing that Rose that I met yesterday gave me. And yeah, I'm just gonna do the best I can at this point. I was hoping the wind would die down, and it hasn't. So now I'm gonna try to find a big rock to put in my boat for weight, and also that I can use as an anchor, because hopefully that'll allow me to still be out on the water, even though it's not like unsafely windy, just more like making it really challenging, 1 to fish, 2 to paddle. So see if I can find a big rock. Hopefully that helps. So I'm gonna use this as my anchor and this for the back of my boat for weight. So hopefully between the 2 I can make this work. I'll also be setting up this trolling mount on my canoe to see if that gives me even a better shot of catching something. I am at the Portage from Crooked Lake to High Lake, so I'm going to be able to get water, and then I really, really want to fish on High Lake. I just filled up with water, so I've got about 3.5 liters now of water, so that should get me until tomorrow when I have to leave. Okay, so I'm gonna try this wacky worm situation. I think that's what it's called. I heard there were bass in this lake, so maybe this will work well. So I'm gonna try this. Hopefully it works. Yep, so looks like I caught a really, really big log. All right, one more cast and then I gotta get going. Oops, I didn't mean to do it right there and not right in those logs. Okay, I for real gotta go. So, okay, let's pull my anchor back up. All right, so I'm trolling as I'm paddling back, and my freaking fishing pole is stuck on this log. So I gotta get this off. I switched to this like minnow looking thing. So I'm gonna try this for the rest of my paddle back while I'm trolling. Okay, I feel like if I'm gonna catch a fish, it's gonna be in this channel. Okay, so that wasn't the channel where I'm gonna catch a fish. Still got a little bit of a paddle until I get back to camp, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm back at camp and I'm still trying to fish. I have still no luck. So I'm using one of those white little twister tails now. So at this point, this is my my fourth different bait that I've tried using. So I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully I'll have some luck at some point on this trip. I'm not even sure if I'm doing this right, and yes, I know that my knife is extremely rusty. Definitely I'm gonna have to get a new one of these, a new knife. No! I really needed a win. Alright, that's alright. Okay, so I'm about to rehydrate this spaghetti that I dehydrated. I had dehydrated some mushrooms, leeks, and extra onions, so I put those in there as well. Here is the finished spaghetti with Parmesan cheese, fresh basil, and of course, fresh green onion. Why are you over here? Like, I'm starting to think that frogs really like fire pits. So I figured that I might as well, since it's my last night here, and I need to get rid of some weight, I might as well have dessert. So I made this pudding mix out of powdered cream, powdered milk, powdered cream cheese, vanilla powder, a little bit of salt, of course. So I'm gonna let this, and cornstarch, and I'm gonna let this thicken up. I'm gonna let this thicken up, and then I'm gonna add bananas and vanilla wafer cookies and make my favorite dessert, which is banana pudding. Okay, I think it's the same guy. He's just like lingering. And every time I see him, he's like at a different corner of the campsite. It's so funny. Alright, well here is my breakfast. It's peaches and sweet cream oatmeal with some peaches that I dried and rehydrated, a sweet cream that I just made with powdered cream and vanilla and powdered sugar. And then I found a few extra wild blueberries, so I just added those also to it. So, alright, about to eat. Okay, so I am finally all packed up. Took me forever, like usual. So I'm saying bye to the campsite and I'm about to paddle my way back to Clark Lake from here. I've got one portage and then I'll just have to paddle up Clark Lake to get back to where my car is parked. Okay, so I'm having another go at fishing right here at the Portage, and I've been trying the wacky worm, no luck there, so I'm going to go back to my blue ice minnow, try that, and if it doesn't work, well, I guess I'm just gonna leave. So I just dropped my first load off at Clark Lake and it's extremely windy. Probably not gonna really be able to troll my blue ice bait like I was thinking. I'm just gonna have to really focus on paddling to get back. I think I've had to accept that it just isn't gonna happen. Good thing I'm not a survivalist. Have to figure out how to live off of 13 blueberries. Okay, so I am finally back at Clark Lake, finishing up the last of my portages. I am gonna take a quick break here and have a snack before I get on the water and start paddling against this wind. So, overall, this has ultimately been like a phenomenal trip. I've learned a ton. Again, the wind driving me nuts, but this has been the most fun out of every trip I've ever been on. Sylvania Wilderness is stunning, like absolutely gorgeous. It's a place I'll definitely come back to. Maybe stay at some different campsites next time, but learned a ton while I'm here. Definitely need to brush up on my navigation skills. It looks pretty straightforward on the map, but it's different when you get out here on a really big lake to find your bearing and figure out where you're going. Got turned around a couple times. Packed a little too much. Ultimately, I love this place and I'm not ready at all to leave. The only thing I don't really like about the Sylvania Wilderness is that there aren't any fish here. Also, didn't run into Hemlock Loons, so I was hoping to do that, so. But anyways, on a positive note, this place, if you haven't been and you live in Michigan, completely recommend. It's wonderful. I will be coming back, that's for sure. I'm gonna relax for a little bit on the beach and see if this wind dies down, or maybe it gets worse, who knows, but just hang out for a bit because it is so beautiful and I really don't want to go home. Then I'll get my bag and everything packed back up into the canoe, and then I have the longest paddle yet ahead of me to get back to the parking lot. So I'm gonna stop filming now, but it has been, like I said, such an amazing trip. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I guess goodbye for now and until the next one.